Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. Today, I'm going to give you guys some Section 8 secrets, some affordable housing secrets that are going to help you to increase your cash flow, build more free time for you and your family, and just break you free from the 9 to 5. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says, I subscribed. For everyone who leaves that comment, I'm going to send you instant access to my free real estate training. It's going to show you how to acquire properties for pennies on a dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that free offer. Let's get into this thing, guys. There's so much to talk about. I know we didn't have a session last week, so I'm like kind of pent up with just a lot of real estate information to give you guys. I want to walk us through some of the basics of Section 8 and then get into some other things. But let's talk about mindset. And guys, if you want to learn more about some of my other programs, you guys know that I have a bunch. We got the group mentorship program, even though I swear by one-on-one mentorship. Only, I would say 10% of people get value from group mentorship. The other 90% actually win from one-on-one mentorship, which is why I focus so much time on working with you guys one-on-one. It's not easy. It's a lot more work, but it is effective, right? And then we have the Boots on the Ground program where we build houses for you so we can build cash flowing rental properties for you no matter where you're at, in the country, out of the country. You can tap into that as well. Just click the links in the description if you want to tap into that, some of the free trainings I have for you. And stay locked in. Drop any questions you have in the chat section, in the comment section, and I'll answer any questions you guys have at any point. It doesn't even have to be fully related to the subject. You guys know that. Anything that comes to mind, drop it in the chat section, the comment section. And let's get this thing rolling. So I actually got this question from three sisters, and they're planning on tapping into the one-on-one mentorship program. They've been in a bunch of people's programs, group courses, but they're starting to realize that one-on-one mentorship is really what they're missing. And one of the sisters, all of their names begin with a T, which I think is like really cool. But one of the sisters asked me, she said, what can't you do for us? Because they know I do all of this stuff. They're like, you do the one-on-one mentorship, you got the boots on the ground, you got the ride along. Guys, the ride along's dropping on January 13th. The second Saturday of the new year. Make that your New Year's resolution to get hands-on real estate experience. But they're like, we know you do all this stuff. What's the one thing like that you can't do for us? What can't you do for us? What aren't you going to help us with? And I just said, look, there's one thing I can't do for you. And it's part of our mindset, right? The one thing I can't do for you is make you take the leap of faith and bet on yourself. The one thing I can't do for you is to force you to jump and allow that net to appear, as my mentor taught me, to take the leap of faith on yourself, to not lock yourself into that 9 to 5 indefinitely, but to just take some time and say, you know what, I'm going to tap into mentorship. I'm going to tap into real estate. I'm going to tap into something that can build financial freedom for me and my family. I'm going to tap into knowledge. That is a leap of faith. And trust me, guys, we all struggle with it. And I hear you guys. Like, it's tough to take a leap of faith into a mentorship program or into real estate, to really say, you know what, I'm going to put some money where my mouth is, and I'm going to get some professional help and go all in on real estate. I'm going to bet on myself. It's difficult. When you're making that decision, even you guys, you know me. You guys might watch me every week and say, you know what, I know Brian can help me. I've heard the knowledge. I've seen the knowledge. He's breaking it down for me. I get it. But you start getting those heart palpitations when you're like ready to sign up or it's time to make a decision. And I get it. It's tough to bet on yourself like that. It's hard to take that leap of faith and trust the game. But as somebody who has trusted the game long term, I'm here to tell you, when you take that leap of faith into real estate, it will reward you. The universe will reward you for betting on yourself, because what you're doing is you're making yourself more valuable to the universe. You are a more valuable person as a real estate investor. You're more valuable to your family. You are more valuable to your friends and the knowledge that you have. You are more valuable to the economy, the local economy, because you're creating jobs for contractors. You're putting properties back on payroll. You're creating affordable housing for low-income tenants who need that housing. You are literally a more productive and valuable person, and there's no way to not get rewarded for that. But you have to believe that you will get rewarded for betting on yourself. You're not betting on your mentor. You're not betting on some guru or anything like that. You are betting on yourself, and that with the knowledge, with the opportunity, you can go out and make yourself a millionaire. You can make yourself financially free, and you guys deserve financial freedom. Not a lot of people will tell you that, but you deserve it. You don't have to work forever. You don't have to stay glued to the 9 to 5 forever. There are other options out there, and you don't have to become like some overnight millionaire. You don't have to go out like I did and do hundreds of deals in 5 years, 300 deals in 5 to 7 years. You don't have to do that. And for a lot of you, that's not really your goal. That wasn't even my goal, guys. My goal was to do 10 deals in 10 years. I ended up doing 305, but my goal was 10 deals, 10 years, 1 deal a year for 10 years. And that was a fine goal. And if anybody hits that goal, you're still going to be happy. You're still going to have financial freedom and a lot more time with your family. So the one thing I can't do for you guys, I can teach you all about real estate, the cost of construction. I can take you on ride along tours. I can spend time with you one-on-one. I can show you how to analyze deals, build rehab budgets, scale construction crews, deal with lenders, invest without cash or credit. All of these things. The one thing I can't do is make you take that leap of faith and bet on yourself. I can't make you believe in yourself. I can't be your self-confidence. And that's just something I can't do for you guys. Unfortunately, if I could, I would, right? But everything else, once you decide to bet on yourself, I can show you the way. I can show you the way to get to where you want to go, especially if you're willing to stick with the process and trust the game, because the game will reward you. So I just wanted to share that, because sometimes these mindset things, they come from questions. I would say usually they come from you guys, which is why I love talking to you guys, even people who are just interested in the mentorship program. I love taking those calls and just connecting with you guys, because you guys keep me motivated. So let's talk about Section 8, guys. So why is Section 8 important? And what's going on in the marketplace right now? This is something that you may not ever hear anywhere, but you're going to hear it here. I want to, and I don't want to get into like a full breakout, because we're not doing a market update today, but this is important information for you guys to think about. So a lot of people come to me and say, Brian, interest rates are higher. Is this a bad time to invest in real estate? Because rates are up, and what does that mean? And how do I adjust? And I'm watching the news and it's kind of negative. Here's the something that I stumbled upon, and this is the way you need to truly think about where rates are at today, what it means for us, and if now is still a good time to invest. So there's something called the real mortgage rate. Whenever you hear this in financial terms, the real interest rate, the real mortgage rate, what does that real mean? What it means is adjusted for inflation. So the real mortgage rate is where mortgage rates are at now, adjusting for inflation. What does inflation account for? Things like rent increases. And we're going to talk about some rent increases. But the real mortgage rate today is, according to recent CPI and Federal Reserve data, the current inflation adjusted 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 3.2%. 3.2%. So even if rates are at 7.5%, 8%, the inflation adjusted, it feels like 3.2%. And this is why people like me, we're not just like eternal optimists. But when I tell you guys, I'm going to show you the chart. When I tell you guys this feels like, and you guys have heard me, it feels like 2011 to me. I've been saying this. Guys, it feels like 2011. Well, this is where rates are at now. Let me try to blow this up higher. This is where rates are at essentially now, which if you see in the top left corner, up in this range, you'll see in the top left corner, it's like 3.2%, 3.4%, 3.6%. Well, back in 2011, which is right around here, 2011, 2012, you had the real interest rate. Look, August 1st, 2013, 3.21%. So the cash flow I'm seeing, because rents are going up to match mortgage rates going up, the spread is very similar to some of the best markets, like the market literally 10 years ago. So where the market was 10 years ago, when I could just like see cash flow everywhere. Any multi, cash flowing. Anything I kind of laid my hands on was just cash flow. The market's like right there right now. And then you have the news. It's telling people now's a bad time to invest in real estate. Don't do it. While, of course, the big hedge funds are buying up all the real estate. They're telling you not to buy it. But I'm looking at it and just scratching my head and saying, I hope my people aren't listening to this nonsense, because what I'm seeing is the average single family that I'm seeing in the markets that I'm investing in, they're cash flowing $500 to $1,000 a month. And I haven't seen cash flow like this in years. Let's look at some more data that supports what I'm talking about. This is from the Affordable Housing Finance magazine. HUD updates fair market. Let me blow this up. HUD updates fair market rents. The national mean increase is 12.2% for the upcoming fiscal year. So as we get into 2024, fair market rents for 2024 will increase an average of approximately 12%. That's nationally. In markets like the ones I'm in, like Philly, Delaware, Baltimore, we're seeing rents are up 30% or more. In Philly, on Section 8, rents just went up 30 to 60%. And I'm not like even exaggerating, overnight as of October 1st, because Section 8 adjusted their fair market value rents. They're getting more competitive again. But the data is showing 12% increase in rent. So even if mortgage rates go up as you're a buy and hold investor, if rents go up and keep going up exponentially, that's going to create a cash flow spread. So the real play right now is to find your cash flow right now. Find your cash flow. If you can find a deal that is cash flowing at 7.5% or 8% mortgage rates, $500, $600 a month, buy it. Why should you buy it now? Because prices are starting to get stagnant. People are listening to the news, so they're not buying as heavily, which means you can negotiate with these sellers, especially on properties that need renovation. So they're coming off that high horse. They're dropping the pricing again, right into the profit spread. So you buy it and you put it on a 30-year fix. You lock in the cash flow, $500, $600 a month. When rates go down, which they're projected to do, we'll talk about it the next time we do a market update. But as rates go back down into the 6s and maybe the 5s, you now refinance, unlock more cash flow. So now that $600 a month turns into $800 a month. That $800 a month turns into $1,000 a month. This is the window of opportunity. It's not just me talking about it. It's the data. As you're seeing, the data is showing you the rents are going up. The real mortgage rate adjusted for inflation is still very, very good. Like very good. Shockingly good. And you can't listen to the news because they're lying to you. It's called the minority mindset. The masses, a lot of you guys may put your money in your 401k or your IRA. Well, you probably heard the masses buy high and sell low and lose their money. That's what the majority of people do. What else do the majority of people do? They watch the news and they listen to what the news says. So if you listen to that flock mentality, the majority mentality, you're going to lose. If you listen to the minority mentality, where we're going against the grain, we're being free thinking, and we're looking at the data and the statistics and seeing what's going on and where the cash flow is and where the money is, you have a much stronger chance of winning. There are no guarantees in real estate, but I can guarantee if you don't play the game and if you sit on the sidelines, you will lose money by not making money. The time value. We're all getting older. I got a birthday in 2 days, November 8th. We're all getting older. So now is the time for us to tap in. But the statistics are pointing to it. So I hope that helps to frame it, because I know I talk about this stuff a lot. And I do want to get into some of these Section 8 secrets and how Section 8 works. I'm going to do a quick overview on generally how Section 8 works in terms of a process, because I know that's helpful. I get so many questions about this because Section 8 is increasing the rents so much right now that people across the country are like, hey, how do I get into the Section 8 thing? And I got mentees in all 50 states now. You guys know that. So we're working with people in all 50 states to tap into this cash flow. No matter where you're at, you can get into this cash flow. And if you're in some of those overpriced markets, like California, or just really anything on the West Coast. A lot of it is overpriced. We'll show you how to tap into the real estate on the East Coast that has the higher profit spreads, the lower property taxes. Guys, if you've gotten any value so far, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe, share the content with somebody else who you think will get value from this, and drop your questions in the chat section. We'll keep answering those as we go through. Jacqueline said, what about the closing costs that you have to pay when you refinance? Good question. So some of the biggest pieces of your closing costs are things like transfer taxes. Transfer taxes in a place like Philly is like 4%, 4.5%, and the buyer and the seller split it in half. So that will make a big portion of that. It's like 2% of the sales price, right? So when you're doing a refinance, you're not transferring the property to a new owner. So you avoid transfer taxes, you avoid sales commissions, you avoid a lot. A refinance is actually not that expensive, especially if you're going to unlock cash flow. So then you would be looking at a break even. So let's say that refinance costs you $4,000, but you unlocked an extra $250 a month in cash flow. How many years is it going to take you to get that $4,000 back? Not long. That $4,000 in the refinance cost is also a tax write-off because it's like a financing cost. So it'd be like a business expense. So you're going to write it off on taxes anyway in year one. So you're going to get a benefit for that. And then you're going to recover on rent in like a year or two. And then you're in the green. So then from years 3 and beyond, you're just up an extra $250 a month. If I knocked on your door and say, hey, I'll pay you, give me $4,000 right now, and I'll pay you $250 a month for the next 30 years. You take that deal. I'd take that deal, especially if you were like, this guy is trustworthy and he will get it done and he will make it happen. You take that deal all day. So the refinance makes sense all day. The only reason people aren't refinancing now is because rates are going up. So you'll be refinancing into a higher rate. It doesn't make sense. As rates go down, refinances are going to happen again. Speaking of all of this too, I've been hearing a lot from, and I'm telling you this because this is why people are talking so negative about real estate. There are a lot of realtors out there. There are a lot of mortgage brokers out there. They're getting crushed right now. Why are realtors getting crushed? Because a lot of people aren't buying. So their commissions are getting hacked. They're not making money. How about mortgage brokers? Well, because rates are higher, a lot of people are buying with more cash. So not only are less people buying, but then people are buying with more cash because they don't want to get as big of a mortgage. A mortgage broker's commission is tied to the loan amount, not the sales price. So not only are they getting less commissions, but the commissions they're getting are reduced because people are showing up with more cash because of the higher rates. So a lot of the negative news that you're hearing, they're from professionals and organizations that are getting crushed right now. Buy and hold real estate investors aren't getting crushed right now. They're doing very well. And if you're in this to be a cash flow investor, you can do very, very well right now if you wake up and pay attention and bet on yourself. If you miss this window, you're going to maybe get priced out of the market because as rates go back down, prices go up. People can afford more mortgage, prices go up again, and you will have effectively missed the window. So I would say you guys actually have about a 1-year window that starts today, a 1-year window where you're either going to get in or you're going to get left behind. That's what's going to happen. Mike, hopefully I answered the question about the refinance. Mike Crosby said, boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is my program where we do everything for you. It's like our done for you model. So we find the properties, we connect you with the lenders, the contractors, all of that stuff. We help you to put the properties under contract for pennies on the dollar. Then we build the properties on a budget. Then we can help you to tenant and property manage those properties as well. So it's a full service. You can do it from in town, out of town. Right now we're building properties for our people in the Philadelphia market because it's one of the best cash flow markets in the country. So anybody who's interested in that, you can tap in. And you can reach out. Just click the links in the description. However you got here, you probably got here from a text, an email me, text me, just reach out. And you guys will be able to tap in. Said, which states have the highest vouchers? Allocations are listed here by state. It depends. It's not necessarily the highest voucher, but it's the highest profit spread. So you're going to see the highest profit spreads for cash flow in markets that have the lowest property taxes and the lower acquisition prices, which tend to be on the East Coast. The Northeast corridor is where you're going to get the most cash flow. We got a happy birthday. Thanks. Appreciate it. Um, I'm just shocked. Like, man, another year older. I really just had so much fun really spending time with you guys this year. I spent a lot more time with you guys on these lives, and it's just been a blessing. It's been so much fun getting to do this with you guys, answer your questions, and like I said, get that constant feedback and mindset feedback from you guys has really been a blessing this year. So I'm hoping to continue that and just continue to build and build houses for you guys, help you guys to get started, and just more the same, man. When you get to do, which is why I want you all to get into real estate. When you get to do what you love every day, if you truly fall in love with real estate, there's just nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. You can make less money than you make at the 9 to 5 in real estate. You'd be so much happier, and you could wake up and do whatever you want all day. So real estate is just that gift that keeps on giving, and it's why I try to dedicate myself so much to it and to you guys, through the real estate. Isabel said, "Is this like a HELOC?" I'm not sure what that question is, but I'll get into it. Let's tap in. Let me hear it. Isn't the crime increasing dramatically in Philly? No. I know it is in other places as well, but friends tell me they are afraid in Philly, even to take transportation. No. I was just in Philly for 2 days. I actually dropped a video I shot from Philly for 2 days last week, and it's there's definitely like I think right now there's a heavy drug problem across the country. Fentanyl, there's like some type of horse tranquilizer stuff. Like some of this stuff is serious, and it's taken over all of our cities, quite frankly. But there's more news and hysteria today. There's more social media today than ever. So anytime anything happens, people get all freaked out, quite frankly. But I don't know where's safe and where's dangerous, because you could be in the suburbs and somebody runs and shoots up a Walmart. Like, I don't know. It's kind of tough to really guess like where's safe. Where I think we just live in an interesting time, but statistically, it hasn't been safer, I think, anywhere in America until now. It's just that you hear about stuff more, so it feels like it. People feel like it's more dangerous, but it's not. It's just not statistically. And that's why you have to stick with the data, because there's fear mongering on the news. The news wants you to feel afraid, because then you'll keep watching and trying to find out. Philadelphia is fine. Philadelphia is fine. And that's why I do the real estate ride-alongs, because I bring people out and they're like, whoa, this is Philly? This feels great out here. And I'm like, yeah, it feels fine out here. James, thanks. And James can speak to that. He's been out in Philly. And it's like people come out and they're just like, we're just kind of chilling. Is this the hood? And I'm like, yeah, this is the hood. And they're like, oh, really? It feels fine out here. So no, Philly's not getting worse. At the same time, it's like you have to have street smarts and spidey sense, right? Like you can't be strolling around through the hood at 2 a.m. with a diamond chain on anywhere in anybody's hood, or you're going to get got. So you have to have some street smarts. But what I found is the hood, even they appreciate the real estate developer. They appreciate it. They're not there to really like step on your toes and mess up your business. And you have to deal with the street at that level. Like I was definitely, I came from white collar. I'm from Philly, so it's not like I was like petrified of the street. But as I got into the business, I was like, man, if they're selling drugs on this block or doing XYZ, are they gonna like try to come at me? But what you find is it's like they're minding their business. What they don't want is the cops. So it's like they're not really trying to mess with you if you ain't trying to mess with them. And it's just like, don't mess up my money. I won't mess up your money. And that's kind of that. So you just kind of do your thing, man. Just kind of do your thing. Thanks, Shalon. Let me get into some of this Section 8. Guys, if you have more questions, drop them into the chat section, drop them into the comment section. Let's get into some of this Section 8. So I get all these questions about Section 8, which is like, how does it work? What are the steps of Section 8? One, any property can be Section 8'd. And we're going to get into some of the Section 8 secrets a little bit later, so make sure you stick around. Any property can be Section 8 as long as you go through this general process. So step one is you're going to have to go through some type of owner training, some type of eligibility training. Let me remove this banner. Yeah, you're going to have to go through some type of eligibility training, right? So this is going to be some type of class that they offer. Most of the time, this is online, and it'll take 2 or 3 days. So you'll go through this process. You'll kind of learn the ins and outs. They'll teach you the basics of Section 8. And then you are going to be a certified owner. Once you're a certified owner, that means you'll have like a registration number with the Section 8 department and your municipality, and you can accept vouchers. Then you're going to want to like either schedule a pre-inspection, or you can wait until you have a voucher holder who's interested in your property. They submit the voucher, and then you will submit this voucher to Section 8 through a portal like this. Not every office has a online portal, what Philly does now. They didn't 5 years ago. They didn't 3 years ago. Not at this level, but they do now. So the general process of Section 8 is you submit a voucher. That's going to get processed in about 3 days. Then Section 8 is going to reach out and schedule an inspection sometime within the next 3 days. So now you're like 6 days in. Then you're going to be waiting for an inspection to happen. They're going to try to come out sometime within the next 2 weeks. You're either going to pass that first inspection. If you're new to this thing, you're probably going to fail. It just is what it is. And how you pass these inspections is, one, you have to go through the process if you're new. There's going to be regular stuff, scrape and paint, make sure the smoke detectors work, make sure the windows are functioning, make sure there's no gaps and cracks in the doors so they can see like to the exterior, and there's drafts, and there's like different basics. But each municipality will do it differently. Some municipalities don't have any inspection, shockingly. But you're going to pass that or fail. If you fail the first time, they'll give you a list of why you failed, and then you'll get another 14 days, and then hopefully you pass. Once you pass, you go to this phase called rent determination. So this is where the Section 8 department, they're gonna ask you, they're going to determine the rent. They're going to take this back to the department. They're going to calculate the fair market value rent in that zip code, and then they're going to get back to you. They're going to reach out to you. This will take sometimes longer than 7 days. They're advertising 7 days. I've seen this take 2 weeks. Once they get back to you, they're going to say, look, we're going to give you $2,200 for this 3-bedroom. Will you accept it? And they're going to give you a time period to accept. You don't necessarily have to accept it. You can push back if you want. And that's one of the Section 8 secrets. We'll talk about that. But they're going to give you some time. Once you accept it, they're going to then start to process a lease. Then they're going to send you a lease. You can review it. You can get it signed by the tenant. Once you get it signed, you send it back to them as a contract. And then they're going to review that and approve it. Once they approve it, the tenant can move into the property and you're on payroll. And then you're just kind of locked in. That's the general process. So a lot of us, you might need to watch this over and over again. The total process will take you, when you get really fast, probably about 30 to 45 days, really fast with no hiccups. One wrinkle is you need to have your rental license. You need to have all your licensing together to get your voucher submitted in the first place. So you could collect a voucher, but if you don't have a rental license and all the things that you need to properly and legally rent this property out to a tenant, you can't get it through this funnel. So you can't even get to like scheduling an inspection, part 2. You can't get here because you're still stuck here. You can see all and certifying all owner requirements, including proof of ownership, rental license, and property tax status. I'll blow that up a little bit. The leasing department is reviewing the request for tenancy approval. The RAFTA is what they'll call it. RFTA, the RAFTA is how they refer to it. And certifying all owner requirements, including proof of ownership, rental license. So you need your rental licenses. And depending on where you're at, you can't get a rental license until you have the lead inspection. So there's a lot of stuff that might go into your rental license, but you have to have it. And your property tax status. You have to be current on your taxes. This is important because also you're dealing with low income tenants and they have free attorneys. They can get free attorneys on you. So if you don't have your game tight and have your paperwork together, they'll hire a free attorney to try to pick you apart. And in some instances, if you don't have your rental license and the tenant doesn't pay, or they did, let's say they did pay and they stopped paying. If you didn't have a rental license when they were paying, you technically would owe them that money back. So you could try to evict them. The judge says, well, you didn't have your licenses. You owe them back that 5 months rent. I've seen it happen. It's crazy. It hasn't happened to me, but I've seen it happen. Okay. So this is just the general overview of the process. Now, let's get into some of the secrets of Section 8. So secret number one, single family properties tend to rent faster than apartments for Section 8. A lot of people want to do like multifamily. And I get it. When you're just getting started and you want to do your first deal, everybody wants to do a triplex or a quadplex or a duplex. Everybody wants to do multifamily because you have multiple streams of income. It feels a lot safer. If one tenant doesn't pay, you have the other tenant paying, and that's going to cover the mortgage. Trust me, I get it. I was the same way. My first 2 properties were multifamily. I believe, yeah, my first 2, maybe 3 properties were multifamily now that I think about it. But if you're going to do multiple deals, let's say you went out and got 3 single families, well, you're still going to have the same situation as one triplex, right? If one single family tenant stops paying, the other 2 are going to cover enough, and there's going to be enough cash flow to cover the mortgage on the third. So you're still going to get that economy of scale. But what you'll find is like a 3-bed voucher holder, there are more 3-bed vouchers circulating out in any municipality than there are 4, 5, 6-bed vouchers, or even 2 or 1-bed vouchers. So if you get that starter home, that 3-bed, 1-bath, you have to think about it from the tenant's perspective. If I can get a house with my 3-bed voucher, or I could get an apartment with my 3-bed voucher, what do I want? Well, I want the house all day. There's more space, more control. It's better for me and my family, and I don't have to live with anybody over top of me, below me, any drama like that. Not that you can't tenant the 3-bed apartments. Like if you had a triplex with 3 beds, 1 bath, over 3-bed, 1 bath, over 3-bed, 1 bath. It's not that you won't tenant it, Section 8ing it, but you're going to have a lot more. You're gonna have to outcompete the market. So you're really gonna have to finish that property nice, like I do. Like you're gonna have to put stainless steel appliances, quartz countertops, nice LVP laminate flooring, like nice new flooring, fresh paint. You're gonna have to really get this property up to par so that it outcompetes the marketplace. So that people are like, well, I'd rather live in that nice apartment than this like roached out house. So there's some of that going on. But just a 3-bed apartment versus a house, you're going to do better with a single family. So understand that as an investment strategy and a tool. The single families will rent much faster. And when you're thinking about Section 8, speed is a factor because the process generally, I mean, we just walked through, all of these 9 steps. It's slower. You have all these 9 steps with Section 8 and delays, and you could fail an inspection. With a regular market tenant, you're just like, hey, you got a first, last, and security? And they're like, yeah, I got 3 months rent. You're like, cool. Here's the keys. Peace. I mean, that's the end of it. You don't even need, you should have a rental license, but if you don't, you could rent it out and then go get your rental license a month later. Like you don't need to do it. With Section 8, you have to do it in a certain sequence that can naturally slow you down. So it's something you need to be aware of. Guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe. Share the content with someone else who you think will get value. And if you want to tap into any of my free real estate trainings, any of my programs, just click the links in the description and tap in. Everything's right down there for you. So just tap right into those links. Secret number 2, you can get paid to provide utilities. A lot of people don't know this. I got to take some water. A lot of people don't know this, but I've done some tracking because I've done co-living. And the average tenant is using about, on a water bill, maybe $50 in water. This is in a place like Philly, so you can extrapolate it to other locations. But $50 in a water bill, maybe $100 on electric, and $100 on gas. That can go up in the winter, depending. But with Section 8, they give you the ability to determine if you are going to pay the utilities and Section 8 will pay you a stipend for providing utilities, or if the tenant is going to pay the utilities. And then Section 8 will give them some type of stipend for the utilities. The stipend, if you were going to cover all utilities, is like $350 to $400. Like it's pretty high. So they're paying you like $120 for the water, even though people are only using like 50. They're paying you $175 for the electric, and they might pay you $175 for the gas. So what I found is, on average, if you had 25 properties, all Section 8'd, and you provide the utilities, you can actually get paid to provide the utilities. You can create a profit spread, and a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think, oh no, I would never do that because then people are going to do X, Y, Z, and then it's on. No, what I found is, on average, you are going to get those outliers. If you get those outliers, you can create a separate addendum that says, hey, if you run over this usage, I'm putting it on you, and you can do other things. But without those outliers, on average, you actually get a profit spread there. So it's something to think about, because if you're getting that profit spread, that could be an extra, $150, $200 a month in spread. That's an extra $2,500 a year. I mean, it makes a difference. It makes what we call the Donnie difference. So any questions, guys, drop them in the chat section, comment section, even if it's not Section 8 related. Secret number 3, you can push back on rent negotiations. So I get this question a lot. Brian, what if, they're advertising the top rent is $2,200 a month. What if they come back at $1,800? Do I have to take it? No. In fact, I've read the rent department, like, their rights. Like, yo, I got a big mortgage, and I need the 22, or they can. I'm not moving them in. And they're like, oh, this person's been waiting like 3 months, and I'm like, look, I hear you, but you're not paying my mortgage. I'm gonna need that full max out amount. So you need to take this, escalate it, and then they come back, they give you the max. So their training is to push you down. Their training is to test your chin and be like, we can only do this. But they got the money. Trust me, they're funded. So you have to push back and get that max. You're only going to get what you ask for in this game, because they're not fully incentivized to give everybody the max, even though they can and have the capability to. Sometimes they'll try to stack up and save their money a little bit. So make sure you guys push back. You will get what you can negotiate. You get what you can negotiate out of life. In real estate, that's so true. You get whatever you can negotiate out of real estate. So make sure you're pushing these people. My guy, Mike Morgan, I always tell people too, some of the mentees will stay tapped in. Mike has been with us for almost 2 years, and guys will just tap in at different times. I'm Section 8 approved as a landlord. What is the next step to get the property inspected? Just there's 2 steps. One is they have a pre-inspection process. So if you're just a landlord, you have a property, and you say, I want a pre-inspection. The pre-inspection means you're getting the property inspected outside of having a voucher holder that is interested in the property. So they will send out the inspectors, and they will try to pre-pass the property. And as long as you move a tenant in within 60 days from the passing inspection, then you don't need a new inspection. So what this does is it shortens the time frame. So now all you have to do is find the tenant, and as soon as you submit the voucher, it jumps straight to. We'll go through this process. You would skip this, so that will already pass. You'd have 60 days, and as soon as you submit the voucher, it'll just go straight to rent determination. It'll jump these first 3 steps. So you would have eliminated that time. So now you're just in a 7-day rent determination, and then 3 days acceptance, locking them in on the lease. Once they sign the lease, I usually just move them in because they're not going to do anything anyway. And you'll be getting your money, man. Direct deposited right into your bank account from the government. So you could do that pre-inspection process, or you could wait until you show the property to prospective tenants, and then somebody steps up and says, hey, I'm interested here. And then you submit their voucher, and that would start the clock. That would take you to essentially step 2, where it's just triggering the inspection. All right. So It's very simple process. It's very simple process, and you know, a lot of you guys, you should definitely tap into Section 8 right now because there's a lot of money floating around. Secret number 4: you can negotiate longer leases. So I get this question a lot. Well, what if I do get the max? How long can I lock that in for? How do I know they're going to pay me? Will they drop it anytime soon? I've never really seen the Section 8 come back. I've been dealing with it for over a decade. I've never seen them come back and lower the rent. I've never seen them reduce rents. You can negotiate longer leases. So if you get a max out and you're like, this is good money, like I'm going to cash flow $900 a month, lock it in for 3 years. They'll do, I believe Philly used to do only 1 year. Then they started, now they're only doing 2-year leases, which I think is a great thing, especially if you're locking in good cash flow. The average Section 8 tenant stays for 5 to 8 years. So you're not going to experience a lot of vacancy, right? A lot of turnover. Like some people are saying 10, 12 years. They're saying a long time. So once you get them in, you're going to be cash flowing for a long time. But you can negotiate a longer lease if you want a 3-year lease. They'll put it on there, and then you're just locking in your cash flow for longer. So especially if you get maxed out and you're like, this is good money, I'm cash flowing $900 a month, and I just want to lock it. Negotiate a longer lease. If you're in one of those municipalities where the leases are 1 year, you can always negotiate a 2 or 3 year lease. So just push to lock it in. It's a smart move, and it can lock in a lot of profitability. Secret number 5, and we're just cranking through these things. Looks like we're getting some questions. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to answer that question after this. Secret number 5, you can increase your rents every year. So if you catch it, you have to put your own timer because nobody's going to tell you. 60 days before the renewal of the lease. So before the 60 days before the lease expires, you can fill out a rent increase form. As long as it's usually like it starts within the 90-day window. You have to do it between like 90 and that 60-day window. So it's like a 30-day window. You fill out a rent increase form and you can roll up the rent every year. I believe like 2%, 3%. And most people don't do this because they don't know about it. But if you keep rolling your rents 2%, this is how you continue to increase your cash flow and offset increases in taxes going up, utilities going up, just any type of expenses. Sometimes rental licenses increase in cost, different things like that. You want to make sure you're rolling up your rents. So don't do what most people do, which is like, I mean, you want to set it and forget it because it's buying whole real estate, but don't forget about it. Make sure you have your calendar set. That's all you got to do is take 10 minutes and set a calendar alert for 90 days, 75 days, and 60 days before the lease expires. And you can go out and roll up your rent 2%. This will set you ahead of the competition. This is extremely important. And you can do that. Let's answer this question. Can you use your own lease? Very good question. It depends on where you're at, what municipality you're in. So a lot of the times you're going to find that Section 8 uses their own leases and they force their own leases. They've even had a process before COVID where they would force you to show up at the office, at the Section 8 office to sign off on the lease. Like you had to physically be there or have an agent that was physically there. They're actually planning on getting to the point where you can use your own lease. I believe that's for next year. So as we get into 2024, even a place like Philly has been very strict on their lease. They're allowing you to use your own lease. So they're getting a bit more lenient on it. I think it's burdensome to have to create leases, and a lot of people make mistakes on what's on that lease. So then people want to correct it, then they're correcting it. They have to hire people to do all this stuff. It's a hassle. They would rather you just use your own lease and negotiate your own thing. Other municipalities, they don't even have Section 8 inspections, and they don't have their own leases. You just do your own lease and move them in, and that's that. And those move a lot faster. So it depends. You just want to ask. But yeah, if you're using your own lease, you do need to know like some of the things that you can do with regular tenants, like waive the right to notice, like 15-day pay or quit notice and some of those things. That stuff won't apply for low income housing tenants. So you have to give them all the notice. You have to do everything by the book, regardless of what the lease says. Or if you get in court, the judge is going to kick it because they're going to say, no, they're on HUD housing and we go by the HUD housing standards and you have to give them notice. We don't care what the lease says. So there's what the law is and how it's enforced. And the judges, I'm just telling you, they're not going to enforce your lease against a low income housing tenant. And they're going to have the free attorney. So you just want to make sure it's done by the book. Shallon, is the eviction process the same or harder for Section 8 tenants? It's the same, but you don't want to make any mistakes in terms of having your rental licenses and what I call your game tight, like to having your paperwork tight. You don't want to make any mistakes. You don't want to show up without your paperwork right, or any of that stuff, because you're dealing with professional tenants. A professional tenant is somebody who's been a tenant for longer than like 10, 15 years. And a lot of the Section 8 people, they've been renting their whole life. And they know the landlord-tenant court better than some of your attorneys. Like some of them know it as well as me. And I know it as well as an attorney, quite frankly. So you don't want to run into that situation where you're dealing with a professional tenant and they'll look up your licensing. They'll go research and be like, nah, they didn't pull this license. They'll go into public records, type in the address. Nah, you didn't get the rental suitability license. I don't got to pay you. And then you're like, you're in a bad place. Whereas the average person is not going to do that because they're not a professional tenant. They haven't been renting that long. They don't intend to rent for the rest of their life. And they haven't gamed the system before. So they just don't know. So you got to make sure you're on top of your game. But it's not harder. If you have your game tight, you have your paperwork together, it's not harder. It's the same. Same process. Same process. There might be an extra 15 days notice or something like that, but that's not going to make the difference. Mike said, yeah, they know all the rules, and Philly is not a landlord tenant friendly. I call Philly balanced. So everything's relative. Philly is a balanced market. It's not landlord friendly. It's not overly tenant friendly either. California's tenant friendly. New York's tenant friendly. New York, you could have all your licenses, everything together. You still can't get them out for a year and a half. Seriously. All your paperwork, everything together. Still can't get them out. That's tenant friendly. Philly, you have your paperwork together. They're going to get out. It might take 3 months, 4 months, but they're going to get out. And then they have the programs where you can collect on the past due rent. They'll have the landlord programs. If you have your paperwork together, you can apply to get reimbursed for that past due rent. And that's what happens in a balanced market. There are some landlord-friendly markets where you can just walk in and be like, yo, you didn't pay. I'm changing the locks in 3 days. You don't even have like an eviction process. So you always want to do that research. I don't mind balanced markets because I know the paperwork game. I know how to have the rental licenses, so I don't mind it. If you don't know the game though, you better. This is another thing, like the cost of mentorship versus a bad eviction. You wish you got a mentorship. You'll probably get burned for 10 to 15,000 in a bad eviction. That's outside of you even paying your attorney fees. That's the attorney fees. That's another 5,000-6,000. You get burned for 20 grand on a bad eviction versus getting into a mentorship program and learning about eviction and everything else. So don't cheat yourselves, guys. Don't cheat yourselves out of getting the knowledge. This game, the mistakes are expensive. The mistakes are expensive. They're more expensive than any mentor. Well, I won't say that because there's some guys running around charging like 50 grand for one-on-one mentorship. Which, for those of you who know what I charge, crazy. 50 grand is like crazy. But yeah, you definitely just want to have your paperwork together. Does the management company deal with the lease signing, the court proceedings, evictions? Yeah. Your management company should be dealing with that. They should be dealing with your not only the property management and the maintenance and all that stuff. They should be handling the lease signings, the move-ins, and then if there's any type of eviction, they should be doing that, filing the notices, filing the eviction, coordinating with the the attorney, because you're going to want an attorney kind of working with you as well. All of that should be coordinated and handled for you, and handled at a professional level. As you're dealing with a management company, what you want to hear from them is rent's due on the 1st, it's late by this date. If they don't have it, we file by the 15th, 16th, and then we'll charge the tenant for the filing fee. If they recover on the rent, God bless them. If not, oh well. And you kind of have to be not cold-hearted, but just kind of like you have to have a system that you can rely on, because you can't be story-based. You can't be like, oh, the tenant told me a great story, so now I'm going to give them an extra 3 weeks. It's going to set you back, because there's going to be that one time you give them an extra month to pay, then they don't, then you give them another month, then they don't. Now that's how you get 3 months behind. And then you file the eviction, and then people are telling you evictions take 9 months. They didn't take 9 months. You took 9 months because you don't have the discipline. So you want to be disciplined in this game. And you want to tell people that before you move them in. Hey, listen, we're not the place where you don't pay. If you're not going to pay, you don't want to be here, because we evict quick. And I'm telling you that up front. Don't matter what the story is, we'll run you out. So you just let it be known, and you'll scare off some of the bad tenants, or some of the people that don't want to pay. Why would anyone evict a Section 8 tenant if the state is paying the rent on time every time? Because the Section 8 tenant only pays, they may have a portion of their rent to pay. So let's say the rent was $1,000. Well, Section 8 might pay $700. The tenant pays $300. So if your mortgage is $800, even though you're getting the Section 8 money, you might need that extra $300 to have some cash flow to be positive. If they keep not paying, eventually you're going to want to evict them. So the best thing you can do with some of these Section 8 tenants is take a big deposit up front. Take a deposit. Take a 1 month deposit. The rent's $2,100. Let's say the rent's $2,100, but the tenant only pays $150 a month out of that. I'll still get the first month's rent as a security deposit. So I'm still going to take $2,100 as a deposit. And there are a lot of secondary groups. It's like Section 8 won't pay their deposit, but there'll be some nonprofit that pays deposits for low income housing tenants, and they qualify. So then you get with them, and then they'll pay you the money for the deposit. So now you got $2,100 against that $150. So even if they fall back 3 months, you're always going to be covered as long as you stay on the payroll with Section 8. And you could still file eviction, but then you could get them out and stay up and then put another tenant in. But it depends. Dr. James Henderson, I just signed a 22-bed, 7-unit as my first rental, and I'm not yet approved, I would assume, landlord. What do I do? How do I get the license? I think we should probably talk. You probably want to click the link in the description and book a call. Tap into the free training, but then there will be a button where it says like schedule a call, book a call, and we'll talk about it. Because I would need to know like what state you're in, more about kind of the property, and just kind of where you're at. But then I could walk you through the process. Definitely book a call. But you can do it. I mean, you can get it done. It's just going to be X's and O's. Can you get ahead and go get the renter's license even if you don't have a property yet? No, you need a property to get the rental license. The rental license is tied to the property. What other licenses do you need dealing with Section 8? You just need a rental license, but to get a rental license, typically you will need a lead inspection. So a lead safe certificate or lead free certificate. And then you would need sometimes they'll have a rental suitability license. You might need a use and occupancy certificate. You might need to register your property with the EPA. It depends on where you're at. So every municipality has different rules. So the first thing to do, see, most people connect with the eviction attorney when they're in trouble. You actually connect with the eviction attorney before you rent the property out, because the eviction attorney is going to tell you what you need to be able to legally evict. They could just send you a one pager, get this, and then all right, check my boxes. Now I got what I need to evict, and now you're good. You don't want to go to them after the fact. Most people show up. Oh, I got this bad tenant, and they're dogging the tenant, and the eviction attorney is going to say, yeah. So tell me about your licenses. Do you have everything? Oh, what licenses? And now you're in it. Now you're in a 9-month eviction because they're going to now tell you what you need. You're going to have to go get it retroactively. Then they're going to explain to you that you weren't entitled to the rent that you collected and all these different things that you're not going to want to hear. It's going to be injury to adding insult to injury. It really is. Because you're going to be like, wait, I'm already down 10 grand. Now you're telling me I can't recover that 10 grand and I got to pay you 5 grand to get them out. And they're going to keep floating for another 3 months. It's like, yep, you should have came to me before you rented the property out. Should have listened to Brian. He told you on YouTube. You should have listened. And that's what they're going to tell you. So it depends. Depends on the municipality. Everywhere is different. You got to do your research. Do you know if Ohio also allows landlords to lock in Section 8 tenants from? Yeah, everywhere does. Everywhere will allow you to lock in Section 8 tenants for longer than a 1-year lease. Just have to negotiate it. They don't care because they know the average tenant stays. 1, they know the average tenant stays 5 to 8 years. 2, they don't want to freaking do another lease next year. So if they don't have to, then they won't. They're just like, oh, you want it for 2 years? How about 3? Like they're just out of their hair. So it's less work for everybody. And if the rent is good, they'll lock it in. So if you're getting a really high rent that you want to lock it in. But then if you lock in a 2-year, you can't run up the rent. You can't increase the rent until the end of the lease, which would be the end of the 2-year. If you're on an annual lease, then you can run up the rent every year. You just got to catch it within that window. All good questions. See, I get so many questions on Section 8. So many questions on Section 8. And that's why I wanted to do this session for you guys because just think about what we were able to cover here. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. If you're getting value from this, definitely tap in the links in the description. If you're interested in any of the programs we offer, just reach out and book a call. I'm easy to get a hold of. Just book a call. We'll talk one-on-one. A lot of people are surprised. They're like, oh, wait, this is Brian because I have a distinct voice. And they're like, oh, wait, you're actually doing this call? And it's like, yeah, I'm taking some time out of the day to get to know you, for sure. I can't do it for everybody, but no, I mean, we're going to talk one-on-one and really see where you need help and, how to help you and if we can help you. But you guys know what I can't help you with, which is taking a leap of faith and betting on yourself and your own education. You're not going to lose getting educated about real estate. It's just not a way to lose. Secret number 6, you can place a lot of the exterior maintenance on tenants. A lot of people don't know this. I just got a call or an email today from one of my guys. He's like, Brian, you know anybody who can like shovel the snow and salt and do this? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, the property manager will do that. They didn't want to use them because they're expensive, but you can actually put that stuff on the tenant. You can put it in the lease. The tenant has to cut the grass. The tenant has to maintain the sidewalk and shovel the snow and all that stuff. You can definitely do that. This is another reason why you want to do a single family versus a multi. Not that you don't want to do multis. I love multis, right? But just saying, one of the benefits. If you have a triplex, whose responsibility is it to cut the grass? Nobody's. Whose responsibility is it to take out the trash? Nobody's. Whose responsibility is it to shovel the steps when it snows, put down salt? Because we're in the Northeast, it gets cold here. Nobody's. Now, when you had a single family, they're living there. Boom, it's all on them. And when you do that, now you have a property you don't really have to manage. Even if you are self-managing it, you don't really have to manage it. Most of the time, they're going to get in a flow. When they first move in, first month or two, you're going to get a bunch of calls. Everything's broken. Everything needs. You go and you fix all of that stuff. The phone stops ringing. Then a year goes by. You haven't gotten any calls. You got the rent checks. You're going to spend on average. A lot of you guys will tell me your fear of real estate is that you don't have time. How much time do I need to invest to get results? When you set up a property like this, Section 8, 1 hour a month. And 1 hour a month, that's what it's going to take to manage the property. And you can make about $700-800 a month in cash flow off of that property. It will be the most valuable 1 hour of work you do. How many of us would like to trade in our 9 to 5 for like 1 hour of work per day. Because that's all you're going to do in real estate. You're going to work an hour per day. You don't have to work this thing like I do. I work this thing all around the clock, but you don't have to do this. I love this stuff. But 1 hour a day for the average bear, and you can probably bring in about 5 to 10,000 a month or more. 1 hour a day of work. So you can trade in a 9 to 5 for 1 hour. But you have to take the leap of faith. You have to get started. You have to get started. Michael said, "Is this being recorded?" Yeah, this is on the YouTube live, bro. You can tap into this whenever you want and share it with somebody who you think will get value. Yeah, this is on the YouTube live. What else we got? How do you feel about the NACA program? Guys, if you have any questions, comments, drop in the chat section. That's the 6 secrets I wanted to break down for you. So we're just going to do some Q&A until you guys tap the mat, and then we're we'll be back for the next one. And I'm glad. I really missed last week spending that time with you guys. So I'm glad to be back at it. I'm really fired up to be back with you guys. How do you feel about the NACA program? I like it, but it's most people don't get through it because there's so many steps to the program. It's like 10 to 12 steps, and most people don't get through all of them, right? So it weeds out like 90% of people. And there are other programs out there that you can tap into that are a little bit easier, that give you a lot of value for like the down payment assistance programs. So you should watch my video. I think it's called How to Get Free Houses. And it breaks down the 5 major down payment assistance programs that are out there and how to tap into them. And we talk about NACA, but we talk about some of the other ones as well. So I think you should tap into that. What are the best markets in Texas to get started? It depends. I mean, a lot of the markets are getting crushed right now. Like Dallas is getting crushed right now. Austin, like all of that immigration stuff and the jobs and all that, it's not panning out because they overbuilt the housing. So the prices are going down, and a lot of properties are just kind of sitting vacant. Rentals as well. And the Airbnb market got trashed. So there's like an oversupply of housing. That's, that market's not doing great. But places like Waco, Arlington, there's a lot of good pockets of Texas where you can go in and grab some properties and build some cash flow. It's all about strategy, is what I want to say. It's all about strategy. So with the right strategy, you could go into Dallas and make good money, or into Austin and make good money. You'll probably make more money in Arlington and Waco than you will in either of those other 2 markets. But you just have to have the right strategy. And it's why you need a blueprint. You need a blueprint. You just need a blueprint. And you need to go in with the right mindset and the right strategy. And I'm going to do this and get the cash flow and execute on that strategy, and you'll win. But you're not going to go into any market without strategy, without a clearly defined strategy that is battle tested, that somebody's done before you. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You certainly don't need to run out in real estate and try to have some new strategy that no one's ever done before. That's probably foolish, and you're going to lose money. You're going to lose your shirt and wish you tapped into mentorship. But there are some good markets in Texas. There are some good markets in Texas. We have mentees in Texas that are doing phenomenal. My brother's got properties in Texas doing great that, I kind of advised them on, and they've been great. They've been phenomenal. So definitely stay tapped into Texas. And if you want a blueprint, click the link in the description, book a call, tap into the free training. The free training alone will actually kind of reshape your mindset. But then if you want to really work one-on-one to scale out, a real portfolio, then tap in. Are there any Section 8 pitfalls to be aware of? There definitely are. I can't break them all down, but I do have a video on the YouTube channel. It's called "Is Section 8 Great?" I probably dropped it like a year ago. Is Section 8 great? And we talk about that, the pitfalls, the pros and cons of Section 8. It's like a whiteboard where we split it, pros, cons, and then go through it and then kind of rank if it's great or not at the end. And it's a fun, it's like 5 minutes. So definitely check that out. If you guys are super busy, watch it on 2x speed and you'll get a lot of value out of it. There are pitfalls, but I would say there are less now Most of the pitfalls with Section 8 were the fact that it was so antiquated, it was so old school, and it was just so old school that it was like you can't get anything done. Like you're sitting on a freaking 800 number call for like an hour and a half, and you're like, am I really doing this? Am I serious right now? And it's just like I can't do this. Now it's all online as of like the last 3 years. I swear COVID has accelerated some of these government agencies tenfold. It's like the best thing that ever happened to them was having to go online. So now that you can submit all your paperwork and stuff online, there's way less pitfalls. It's actually mostly good. You just have to navigate it. But I don't recommend navigating it on your own the first time because it's going to be so slow that it would cost you money. Like speed is money in real estate. So if you move so slow, it starts costing you money. You'd have been better off tapping into mentorship to go faster. But then even with that, Section 8 only moves so fast. So you have to be patient with Section 8. You have to be more patient, but it's worth it. The patience pays off. The patience pays off in Section 8. Great, thanks. This is it on YouTube. Yeah, this is on YouTube. So you guys, you know, if you're getting value out of this, not only should you share it with others, but watch it again. Save it as a video. Like it, save it, and refer back to it. Because I probably have been getting more questions about Section 8 than anything, probably because the rents are going up and people are starting to see the cash flow is back. So I've been getting questions for like the last 3-4 weeks. Even everybody in my Boots on the Ground program, we're building houses, and they're like, Brian, can we Section 8 these things? And I'm like, yeah, all day. Let's do it. So Section 8 is just phenomenal, man. If you know how to navigate it. It's a tool. All of these things I teach you guys, they're all tools for you to accelerate. Yes, is Free Houses info, is it on YouTube? Let me see if I can show you guys. YouTube, Brian Grimes. Let's see if I can show you. Hopefully this doesn't pop up into another video. That's us right now. You go to videos. We got a bunch of stuff here, bunch of testimonials. This is our youngest mentee. He calls me today. He's working on like 3 more deals. And I'm like, bro, where are you getting all these deals? He's like, remember we put up all those bandit signs and all. And his phone's ringing off the hook from bandit signs. It's crazy. He's working on like 3 more deals. Pennies on the dollar deals, off market. This guy's a rock star. Freaking rock star. He's 20 years old. Joined us when he was 19. You can learn more about him and kind of what he's doing, his journey. I want to get you guys to that Section 8 video. There was the free houses right here. This breaks down the top 5 first-time home buyer grants. So that'll cover NACA and some other programs. Definitely tap into that if you're trying to get down payment assistance. Evictions 101. We'll talk to you about the evictions process, how it works, and how to have your game tight. That's very important. Is Section 8 great? This video right here will kind of go over Section 8 in greater detail. So, guys, I mean, the channel, it's just loaded with value, and that's just the regular videos. Then we got the lives. Look how many live sessions we've done. I mean, we got all these live sessions for you guys. And these are all like an hour, hour and a half. I mean, the amount of game is crazy. And then to think that there's even more game in the 100 Keys Masterclass. So in the paid content, we've actually reserved even more game. So there's just, you know, high level game even in the 100 Keys Masterclass that goes above and beyond any of the stuff that I can do for you guys on these these lives. So there's just a ton of value for you guys. And it's really just, you know, navigating and tapping in. This is why when people say, oh, you know, how can I learn more about you? It's like, yo, do your research. It's right here. If I'm not giving you game, don't tap in. If I'm giving you game, then you already know what it is. Tap in, and you'll get more game. But that's kind of what that is. So do you recommend doing affiliate partnering with AT&T for the internet and other things? with tenants for extra cash flow? You can. I mean, extra cash flow is not a bad thing, so you definitely can. You definitely can. I won't say I recommend it because I haven't researched it enough to recommend it, but extra cash flow is mostly good. So if you can get extra cash flow and it's a win-win, then go for it. Here's a question from O. This is off the Section 8 track. Regarding LLC attached bank account, does it matter online banking versus regular banking or credit union? No. Just open up a bank account. Doesn't matter where it is. Online, credit union, regular account, Bank of America, PNC Bank, Citibank. It doesn't matter. Any type of national bank. Yeah, Fannie Mae got the 5% opening up soon. Yeah, 5% down. But remember, that's for owner occupants. So if you're looking at it purely as an investor, you're still going to have to come up with some cash. But this is going to allow more owner occupants to step up to the table and get some really good deals. So, guys, I hope all of this helped. But once again, if you got value, like, comment, subscribe, leave the comment that says I subscribed. And I will send you some more free giveaways. We have the ride along January 13th. It's going to be like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We meet at the Philadelphia Convention Center. We get on a party bus, tour the city. We see a bunch of full gut renovation projects that I'm working on. And then we show you a bunch of hot spots. We give you budgets. So you get to walk through the rehab budget, see how the deals are being built, understand how to break down budgets. It's phenomenal. It will give you a decade's worth of experience in a day. Make sure you tap into that. There's limited seating. We're only bringing 10 to 15 people out because I like to spend time with the people who show up and make sure I'm delivering on value and making it like a special day. If you want to tap into the Boots on the Ground program, I only have like one spot open because somebody just wrapped up a deal and they're going to take like a pause on the program, reload on capital, and then probably come back in early in the new year. So we have one spot open. Somebody just tapped into the Boots on the Ground program today. So, if anybody's on the sidelines, if anybody's been thinking about the Boots on the Ground, hey, Brian, I want to get in. Listen, I can't build houses for everybody. I just can't. I'm still just one guy, right? So we have one spot available. Make sure you reach out and tap in on that. And I know there's a couple of people who wanted to get in last month, but then something happened. They're like, hey, I want to get in this month. So they might take that spot and then there's nothing. So if you want in, definitely reach out. There's still enough year, believe it or not, there's still enough year to get a property this year. So if you've had that goal, I got to get a deal in 2023. This is my year. This can still be your year. There's so much cash flow. Now that rents have caught up to mortgage rates, there's so much cash flow out here. It's insane. And buying properties in the winter is the time because prices start falling and you can go in and get that right deal. That's that, guys. So hopefully this helped. Appreciate you guys spending time with me. I love spending time with you guys and giving you guys value. So I hope this helped. If you have any other questions, you guys know how to get a hold of me. Click the links in the description, book a call. Let's talk one-on-one. If you want to tap into mentorship, that's the easiest way as well. Book a one-on-one call with me. We'll talk about it, the cost of it, all the value we give you. For those who are in the mentorship program, shoot me a text. Birthday's on November 8th, so we're getting older, but still feeling younger because this real estate game will keep you young. So you're never too old, never too young to get into this game. And just remember, what we started with. The only thing I can't do for you guys is make you take that leap of faith on yourself and bet on yourself. But I hope you all do it. I hope you all bet on yourself. I hope you all decide to take a stab at breaking free from the 9-to-5. Just take a stab at it. You deserve it. Even if you failed, you won't regret going for it. You won't regret taking that step to try to break free from the 9-to-5. You will never regret that. You'll just say, you know what? At least I went for it. At least I went for it. Dr. James, I know you want to tap in. Click the link in the description to the video and book a call one-on-one. Or however you got here, just email me, text me, however you got here. But click that link in the description and then book a call. and we'll talk one-on-one. We'll talk one-on-one and try to get you tapped into this thing. You got 22 beds. If we get that thing filled alone, you probably be cash flowing about $5,000 a month if you fill it up right. So let's definitely connect. Appreciate you guys. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. I'm out of here.